What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to EP09. So, the prejudging for the 2023 Prague Pro is all wrapped up. And as expected, this show did not disappoint. All these guys showed up in really good shape. The live stream quality was actually fantastic. I was really impressed with that. Some of the camera angles when they were doing the comparisons, I probably could have stood to see a little bit more of every competitor instead of a couple of these guys individually. But anyway, now after the initial quarter turns were completed, there was actually a first callout that consisted of 8 competitors, which you really don't see very often, and obviously is a little bit too many competitors to really do a fair comparison. But I really think the judges were just trying to identify who could be in a top callout further into the prejudging, which tells you that all these guys really showed up in fantastic shape. But as the prejudging went on and they had the second and third callout, the judges did circle back and we had our top 4 callout, which consisted of Samson, Michael Krizo, Rubiel Mosquera, and Nathan Diasha. So I was really interested to see Samson compared to both Krizo and Rubiel. These are 3 very different physiques, all with their own strengths. Now, if we look at conditioning, I think all things were relatively equal between Krizo and Samson. Rubiel really does need more detail from the back, but as the prejudging went on, I will say he did get a lot sharper, and he actually did have a lot of detail from the side. Muscularity-wise in this callout, I mean, it's crazy to say, but I think you have to give it to the newcomer. In overall size, especially through the quads, Rubiel was measurably much bigger than all 4 guys in this callout. In terms of shape, symmetry, and flow, I mean, you just have to give it to Samson here. He absolutely has those qualities over these competitors, and that's why I think he's going to end up walking away with the win here. Samson was really on at this show. He looked like he was a few points sharper than he was in Romania. He looked extremely dry. There was more detail in the hamstrings, the quads, the midsection looked like it even had more detail. The overall flow of his physique, combined with that level of conditioning and detail, really made him pop on that stage. Even the quad sweep looked improved from last week. I really think Samson was extremely relaxed going into this show, and that really showed through in his physique. And this is definitely a very difficult version of Samson for any of these guys to try and defeat when it comes to the finals. When we look at Nathan Diasha here, he looked a lot fuller than we saw last week, but he just doesn't have that hard, grainy conditioning like he had earlier in the season. Not to say that he was smooth here, I don't want to use that word, because he did have some decent detail to his physique here. I actually think that his midsection was dialed in better than what I would say probably the last 2 shows that he's done. But with Nathan, going into the show, he did say that he was tired. He's been prepping for 6 months now. He's been through a hell of a lot this season between not being able to travel, being qualified for the Olympia, and just having to be turned around at the airport, things like that. And I really think that's starting to show through in his physique. But this was a good showing for Nathan, relatively speaking. Definitely better than what we saw in Romania last week. Krizo definitely looked fuller here than he did at the Olympia. No question. The legs were noticeably fuller. If you look at the adductors, the chest, and the shoulders at the Olympia versus here in Prague, you can see a measurable difference for sure. The conditioning was spot on as well. His color was the best that we've seen from him. I would say probably in any IFBB Pro League show that he's ever done. He has had problems with that in the past, but it really looks like he's corrected that. And this was also the best balance between conditioning, muscularity, and fullness that we've ever seen from Krizo. Now, when Neckzilla first came out, the crowd went absolutely crazy. He's weighing in at 286 pounds at this show. 286 pounds in his pro debut. And with this level of conditioning, it's absolutely crazy. He's outweighing Nathan Diasha. I think he's probably outweighing Krizo here as well. But look, the legs are nothing short of absolute tree trunks is the best way I can describe them. Really, he could be a bit sharper in the quads near the hip tie-in. The lower abs, I think, need a bit more dialing in. That could be a bit tighter as well. But his shoulders and quads being so wide, that really does give him that illusion of a smaller midsection. And like I said, although he's absolutely massive, his overall flow does expose him when standing next to a guy like Samson, and even Krizo. But for a pro debut, and at only 28 years old, this was just absolutely insane. The bodybuilding world really did not see this coming. So after prejudging, I would have Nathan in 4th. I think I'd put Rubiel in 3rd as of right now, although he could place as high as 2nd in this lineup. I think Krizo is holding that 2nd place spot, and Samson looks to be taking home his 3rd pro win of the 2023 season after prejudging. So we'll see how these guys stack up for the finals, and let me know in the comments below how you have these guys placed after prejudging. Anyway, that's it for me in this video, you guys. Thank you for tuning in to EP09. Be sure to like and subscribe.